yeah. Oh, we gon' put your business on display. Yeah. Oh, we gon' put your business on display. I got winners on the way. You know you can't knock the hustle. And if you gotta get in place, then we gon' put your business on display. Grab a seat with Neesha for a minute. And if you got the goods, we can talk about your business. She know what it's like to make a move independently. And I don't fake us like that. We've been trusting God like that. Yeah. Oh, we gon' put your business on display.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy rainy Wednesday in the Chicagoland area with a spot of sunshine that keeps trying to creep through the clouds every now and then. So as many of you all know, it's been raining, pouring in Chicago. And if you're not in Chicago, then God bless you. But it might be raining where you are. But speaking of the word pour, I'm super excited about my guest today, you guys, because I know that every now and then in seasons, you need someone to pour into your life. And everybody should have someone to pour back into them, especially if you're that person that kind of pours out. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from this beautiful soul's website. And I want you all to come on a journey with me, and then I'm going to bring her on, okay? So take a moment and envision this. You wake up on a Monday morning feeling more refreshed than an ice cold rum punch on a hot summer day, beaming with energy and excitement to start your busy week. Your schedule is packed. After all, you're a working woman that wears multiple hats as a mother, a business owner, a caretaker, a wife, all of it. But instead of looking at the week ahead of you, you dread, you feel ignited by the flames of joy, excitement, and confidence. You don't look at the week with dread. I'm going to read that again. You feel ignited by the flames of joy, excitement, and confidence. Genuinely lit from within, charged with positive energy like I am every week when I come on here. Driven by an intense inner motivation, your mind is clear, sharp, and focused. Your mind is clear, sharp, focused. You know exactly where you're going in every area of your life and exactly how you're going to get there. You can feel the sparks of your inner power emanating out of your fingertips because you figured out how to effortlessly balance the scales of your life in favor. And you cannot wait to step into the world at your fullest, most aligned, most empowered self. Whew, that was a lot. So without further ado, you guys, I'm going to introduce you all to some and many others. None other than the igniter, the master igniter herself, who wrote this beautiful excerpt into pouring into others' lives on her website. None other than Miss Rachelle Sylvain. Hey, Rachelle, how are you, girl?
Hi, Neesha. How are you?
So I hope I read it with excitement and ignitement.
Yes, you did. You did.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. It's raining by me as well. So, but I'm fantastic.
What part of the world are you in?
I live in South Florida, around Fort Lauderdale area.
So you guys get rain all the time, right?
All the time. This is the season for it, and it has been raining for the past week and a half daily.
Okay, so I'm just going to start off by saying I love Rachelle. I have had to learn to roll my R for her name. I'm gonna say your ethnic background is what? What ethnicity are you?
I am Haitian American.
Haitian American. So you guys, if I forget to roll my R, y'all forgive me. She does sometimes. She will correct us, okay? But I just want to say the reason I met Rachelle on Clubhouse, and the reason I was so drawn to her is because of her signature name and her brand, which is the Igniter Coach. She is an igniter. And so I named this club Dream Fire Igniters. And that was not the first name, but I had to figure out something else because someone had contacted me and said, you know, you kind of using my name. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a free world. But so I changed it to Dream Fire Igniters, and she came into the room. And when I tell you somebody that drops the wisdom like nobody else, and sometimes she's so busy with work and different things that she's doing that she'll come in right at the right time and swoop down on us, give us a spot of wisdom, and she may have to swoop right back on out. But it's so powerful. I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I want to get this party started because I just want to talk to you about your purpose and what you do. So tell us the name of your business and how you got it started, when you got it started. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Woo, thank you, Neesha. Thank you for having me. And, the feeling is mutual. You really pour into me as well. So I think there's purpose behind our connection and why we're here today. So thank you. So as you just mentioned, I am Rachelle. I am a Haitian American woman, mother of two, married. I am a daughter. I am a granddaughter, a sister, a friend, a social worker by perfection. I mentor, I am a philanthropist, and I am a life strategist where I ignite the inner motivation in women. That's just what I do. Yes.
And when did you start the business?
I started the business about 7 years ago. The business name is Our Motivation. However, this year I rebranded the component of the life strategies and speaking to just Rachelle Sylvain, which is
Okay.
my name.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, what I've noticed is really about I'm the product. So people connect with me and I need to own that. And so I have, and I relaunched it with that.
That's wonderful. Well, I love that what I read in the beginning on your website. Your website is so drawing and it captures you. And look, this is my first time, looking into it, preparing for the interview because of our lives being so busy igniting others. But I really, look, I'm going to schedule an appointment to be a part of this 12-week program. But I want to just speak to something that you said on your website. You provide women just, and I put this, she said, I provide women just like you, but I replaced it too. Rachelle provides women just like me with the no fluff accountabilities, tactical strategies, and empowering support you need to rebalance your life. That's a mouthful right there. Can you tell us a little bit about people like me that need the no fluff account? The first word that I love is accountability. So tell me about
Really.
that a little bit.
It is key because, as many of us, we carry several different hats, and I'm certainly one of them. And we have a lot of great desires, wishes, and dreams, and things we want to accomplish, places we want to be, who we want to show up as in our lives. And all great, but yet the follow-up, the follow-throughs is what we tend to fall short from. So the accountability piece is really where it comes from. That you made that decision as to who and what you want to do in your life and how you want to show up for yourself. So now you have that person which to really give you the reminder with the commitment that you make with yourself, because really the commitment is with you. It's not really with the accountability coach or partner. It's really with yourself. We're just there to remind you and keeping you in that lane that you have chosen as being your lane.
So you said the follow up and the follow through. And so I know that we probably follow up and follow through with the hats we wear, but we don't really follow up and follow through with ourselves. Woo, guilty as charged, guilty as charged. And I was just sharing with you earlier that, sometimes it causes your mind to be not clear and not focused where you can't. Like I've been writing a book for the past, since 2015, and it's sitting on the pages and it needs completion. But I'm so busy doing everything else for everyone else that I can't really like nail in and hone in and getting it done myself. So how important is it to really hone in on that follow up and follow through for yourself? What really does that look like?
Well, what I find to be important and to do so is really identify the most important pieces for you. What's the most important thing for you right this stage in your life, and prioritize these things. So there's so many things that are important, especially when we carry so many different hats. But if we put them in categories so that we know what takes more precedence versus the other, then we are able to categorize it and then follow up accordingly. Not so much following up on everything at once, because I think that's what we tend to do. We have all those great goals and dreams and ideas and things, and then we want to do this. It's all about focusing, tackle one thing at the time, prioritize that thing at that moment, and ensuring that that piece is addressed and handled so that you could tap into the next thing. To require a little bit of structure.
Right, requires some structure. So I love one of the things that you say is to stop surviving and start thriving. Well, let me just tell you about Rachelle's Instagram. Okay, so you all can follow her on social media. You always look like you are on vacation. I am not kidding. You look like you don't have a care in the world. You look like, okay, I have this, I have this, I have this, and then you're just so free. I'm like, I need a little bit of that, her to bottle that up and give that to me. So I just want you to talk about, like, personally, what do you do to reignite your flame and to stay so carefree? And I know they're photographs, but it just literally it really exudes through the Instagram and speaks, and it's drawing. It's very drawing. So tell me what you do personally.
And thank you. At first, I have to say they are photographed, but they're not professional photographs. So it's really as candid as it can be. So that's one thing, to speak to the truth of what the authenticity of what you see. I have to also mention that it is a journey. So, and once, I have been in this path of self-discovery for years. And the more I have become more acquainted with myself, getting to know who I am from within, understanding the vibration that are being felt within me, understanding why certain sensations come and what they mean, really being in tune with every element of me, I have been able to really navigate life in a way that's aligned with my values and who I truly have identified that I am from within. Doesn't mean that things doesn't happen. Doesn't mean that you don't have, life is it's filled with peaks and valleys. It's just that I have a better system for myself to help me navigate the peaks and valleys throughout my days. So one of the things that I could say today as to who I am is that I tend not to I do not focus on the negative on things. I only focus on what's positive. It doesn't mean that I don't feel or I don't experience the negative, but I don't focus on it as much, because I believe that the more we focus on it, the more it becomes much larger than it should be, as opposed to identify what's happening if something is going through your life, and understanding the ramification, what's happening, the experience, if it's not a so more positive experience, but yeah, what lesson have we learned from it? How have we grown from it? How do we move through it while allowing ourselves to feel through the experience? Because I think that it's very important to feel to what's happening, because every emotion, every experience has a purpose. So that's really what has allowed me to show up the way in which I'm showing up. And like I said, it's definitely a journey. So, I'm a human being. We do all have our highs and we have a low. I don't sit on the low too long. That's the difference. I don't sit on the low long enough.
So I know you say this often, but I know that how you start the day is so important, how you begin it, and not looking at the week ahead, let alone the day ahead, but the week ahead with dread, even with life circumstances. Now, this is very interesting to me, because I know, we're believers and we love the Lord and all of that, but it's so difficult to not look at the negative when things happen to us, So how would you encourage an entrepreneur or someone who's just starting their business to really say, you know what, you just said to compartmentalize, to put things in certain order. How would you encourage someone to stay focused on not the negative? Like, what are some of the steps that people can actually do? Because it's easy to say that, but then what does that even look like?
What I think is important is that it's going into a business and starting the process of a business. One should, I believe, should always go in knowing that it is going to be a process and it's not always going to be perfect. So therefore, there will be bumps on the road. I think that if once one is able to have that in mind going into a business, when the challenges do come forth, it's not as surprising as it would be, because you're better mentally prepared, because Okay, something may happen because that's just part of the process, and nothing is going to fall 100% as we would like it. There will be moments where we have stumbles. So that's one process, preparing yourself mentally and knowing that it will be a journey. There will be bump in the road, so that when it does come, it's not a surprise, but yet you're also somewhat prepared to deal with the ramification of what may come from it. It doesn't mean that at the moment when you're experiencing it, that it's not harsh, it's not painful, it's not heartbreaking. I mean, I'm talking from experience personally. I've had a business which I've lost. My earring just fell. I do apologize. I have a business that I lost, and so I had to go through that. But what has helped me in that process is that once I came to the realization that we had to make a decision to shut down, it was like, okay, God, I surrender because I've done all that I can do, you know, and I surrender, and I know that's part of my growth because I know success, greatness is upon me. So if that's the stumble that I will be experiencing to reach that level of greatness, then bring it. So I hadn't stopped asking why me and shift my mindset to why not me, because there will be lesson learned in any journey at some point, and understanding at that moment that that may just be the lesson, the experience that I have to go through to grow from. Then I was at that moment mentally and emotionally prepared to deal with the moment of growth that I was about to experience at that moment. It wasn't fun. It wasn't easy. I experienced a sustained amount of financial loss, but yet I'm here. I'm talking to you, and I keep on talking.
Yes, that's the key. And I think something you said was to surrender to the fact that this season may be different. You know what I mean? It may have hurt. It may have caused you a little, heartache. But if you're still alive, you're here to tell the story and to start again. And I think that so many people get stuck in the loss rather than the igniting to move forward. And when I was thinking about ignition, on your stove, how you turn the ignition on and it's like click, 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 and then it pops,
Yeah.
but some clicks last longer than others, but it doesn't mean that it won't ignite eventually, right? Sometimes you may have to help it with a match or something like that. And so you guys, if you're listening in today, we're here with Rachelle, Sylvain, my friend, the Igniter coach.
Yes.
The reason we have so much in common is because she sees the best in you and she ignites it and pushes it and pops it forward. And God uses her that way. And I love that you even were transparent about your previous business that you had to let go of. But here you are again with another business. So it doesn't matter what was in the past, what's now, what's present right now. As long as there's breath in your body, there's hope. I always say that. But I wanted to read something else you said on your website. You said, no excelling at work, only to find that other areas in your life are falling apart. No laying in bed for hours at night, unable to sleep because you keep thinking about wanting more out of life, only to wake up feeling empty, unfulfilled, disappointed. No going through the motions. You boldly claiming. This is so good, so good, so good. Boldly claiming your power over each day, your inner motivation fueled by your own fire. You want to expound on that? I could think of so many people, including myself, late hours in the night. You're sitting there thinking like, I could do this and I could do that, but you're stuck, but not claiming the power that you've been given for the inner motivation to be fueled by your own fire, your own igniting. Come on, girl, share about that. That's so good.
We're often find ourselves asking outside of ourselves question that resides within us. So we're often, you said, we're in bed asking, how come this is not happening? How come this person this call? How come I didn't get this job? How come did this happen? But what are we asking of ourselves? At what point do we reconnect with who we truly are and get the clarity that we're seeking outside and getting that understanding that, okay, I want this, but is it really what I'm about? I said I would do that, but is that really aligned with who I am? So are we really asking the things that we have no business asking? Because we're not connected, we're not aligned, we're not in union with these thoughts or these wants. But it sounds good, sounds great. But until we take the time to pull ourselves back and say, okay, what do I really want? I know I'm not fulfilled what I'm doing right now, but what do I really want?
Yeah.
And then for you to know what you really want, you need to know who you really are. So your who is equally important, if not the most important, in order for you to find out what the want. And once you identify that want, then you can actually get clarity as to why you want what you want. Because that's where the fire comes in. I say I want it, but why do I want it? Once you connect with that why, then you realize that you will be lit, because that why will carry you through. And it will be fully aligned with who you say you are, because you have found out, you have identified, you have connected with who you truly are from within. Not who your mother said, not what the society said, not what who your community said, not what, the world said, the societal norms. All good, but yet have we ever taken the time to take that step back and say, but what does Neesha want?
Yeah.
Who is Neesha really?
Yeah. Girl,
You
don't let me
know, sounds great, all those great things, amazing, but is it really me?
Yeah.
Is it really me? And it
Ooh.
goes back to the other element of, once you identify that, you're like, okay, but what fulfills me? So people talk about purpose and all this stuff I have to find. I believe you don't find purpose. You connect with purpose. Purpose resides within you. You were born with your purpose. God created you with an intention, with a purpose. Not for you to go find it, for you to connect with that which he created you to be. Who is that person? What is that person about? Why does that person exist? These are the three things that are key to ask of yourself, so that you can understand, if you take the time, who you were then and who you are now, there's still a connection. You may be showing up differently, but the connection is still the same. If you're a person of service, you will see that you maybe have several different stages in life. You provided service. It may not be a different in the same way, but in different areas. So therefore, you're showing up as being that person you're intended to be. The fulfillment comes into, how do you want to serve with that purpose? And that's the part that we need to identify that makes us fulfilled, so that we don't feel that we are going all over the place, but you're still aligned with you.
Girl. Okay, so let me just help y'all ahead of time. Neesha's Network is going to be doing a workshop with Rachelle, Sylvain. Okay, y'all be on the lookout. We will be charging, but wow, wow, wow! And I have to fight back my little tears, because I just had my session. I just told her I had my session this morning with my own coach, and some of the very things you're saying is so powerful. So I'm not going to even go into that. But I do want to talk to, and I told you this. I was transparent with you, like you said, wearing so many hats, but really knowing who you are within your inner self, your really inner self speaking. And you know what's so interesting? Oftentimes I'll coach people and ask the question and say, what do you like? And they like, oh my God, I don't know. Or who are you trying to reach? Which audience? I don't know. And I think we don't really know. We're so busy helping the world that we really haven't taken opportunity to ask our own selves those questions. And they seem to really get hard. And even for me, if I had, it took me so long to get to the breaking point of what I was trying to reach this morning, because so I guess I don't know, maybe you could speak to this, Rachelle. We build up these walls of being strong that we can't really get to the inner self of really what we really want. You know what I mean?
Because we perceive it as a sign of weakness, or I don't have time for that. In our community, that's really what it comes down. Ain't nobody got time for that, but we do, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's actually something that one needs to embrace, because there's this inner peace that comes from it. And having inner peace doesn't mean you're weak. It just means that you're fully connected, and you know what you want, and you know how you're going to show up. You know what you don't want, and what you're not going to stand for, and be okay with it. It means that who you don't want in your life, you're going to be okay. Say, I don't want you in my life anymore. Not because I don't love you, because you don't serve me anymore. And therefore, your energy is no longer needed in my space. And I'm okay with that, because it's coming from a place of genuine space, but it's coming from a place of love of self. Because I need to start protecting that aura. I need to start protecting that temple, my body, that I have worked so hard to be where I am today. I have invested as to who I am today. So therefore, I do not want anything or anyone to interfere or try to turn that fire down that I worked so hard to find.
Woo-wee. Okay, so I'm gonna toss another question at you then. Because there are people like me who don't like people to feel left out. So they will continue the journey with people no matter what. And you know what I mean? It's like I was that person who probably felt abandoned or rejected as a little girl, teenager. And so that oldest child in me wants everybody to be included. Everybody come to the party. Everybody come sit down with Rachelle. Everybody come, join in, and really not really realizing that some things don't serve you anymore. And I hold on to the last drop, Maxwell House. But so what do you say to those people?
I am, part of me is that person as well, because when I think about, we talk about hats, right? And when I think about the role that I play in my family, family life is very important culturally and specifically from the family that I come from. So I'm one that I'm like the glue to everyone. Everyone. And that could be draining at times too, because the same way you can be that glue, but you want to be glued to at times, important to a time as well. And I realized that I'm always the one including, inviting, incorporating, and doing all the stuff, creating, thinking ahead or above and beyond to just make sure that I include or whatever. And I'm realizing that it's draining and it takes a lot, and it's not reciprocated. Now, you don't do it to get the reciprocation, but you also want at some time that the acknowledgement of that phone call, hey, how you doing, from time to time, or get that invite as opposed to you inviting, like those little elements that makes us, we're human beings. To be like, hey, you know what? You do so, you've been hosting for the past 3 days. You know what? I got this time.
Oh, the past years.
So what exactly, past couple of years, yeah, exactly. And then you realize that at some point, it's like, okay, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
Why am I losing sleep about who and when we're having the next holiday party? Why am I the one? So what can I do to ensure that I still fulfill that need? Because there's a reason why you're that person. There's a reason why I'm that person. So I don't want to move myself too much from that person, because the reality is that there's a part of it that I enjoy.
Right.
Because I enjoy seeing my family. I enjoy being in their presence. So what I have done through the years is this. I had somewhat shifted the way in which I did these type of gatherings, and I decided when I want to see everybody, I create the environment to see everyone.
That's good.
So it could be a holiday, it could be just because. And at that moment when I invite and everybody shows up, I didn't do it for everybody. I did it for me because I wanted to satisfy that need I have within me of seeing everyone and being in communion with everyone. And then once I satisfied it, I'm good. And at that moment, I no longer think along the lines of how come it's not being done, because it doesn't matter. I created the scenario, I created the avenue to gain what I'm seeking. It's once I have it, it's okay. And it could be another month, it could be another year, it could be another day that I do it again. But I do it when I have a desire to fulfill that need within me to be around everyone. So that mindset shift for me has helped me a lot, because I no longer have expectations
or obligation.
And it's kind of like you're teaching people how to interact with you. This is how I'm going to show up. It may look different, but it's okay. Mm-hmm. But that's how I'm showing up, because the love is still the same, but I'm showing up this way now because I'm honoring my needs first, and everything else falls along the line. So that's one way I had to do it, because I am that person. And there's nothing wrong with it, because I think that that's part of our DNA, that's the role that I play, but now I do it on my terms.
Okay, just send me your invoice, Rachelle. Send me your invoice for my coaching session, okay? All right, everybody needs to look up Rachelle and send her your invoice, okay? I mean, she's gonna send you an invoice for her fee. One of the things I love you said is impact is my paycheck, and I'm here to pour abundance into the bank account of your purpose.
Yes.
Yes. Woo! And I think that's what you're doing today, even though we owe you real money. That's what you're doing right now.
You know, one of the things that I have identified during my journey of self discover in this ongoing process as I try to master who I am right now is that one thing I've identified is I am a person. We are all God's children, and I walk by faith. I'm very grounded spiritually. And on a side note of that is the experience that I mentioned earlier in terms of the business loss that I had. One of the biggest lesson learned in that experience is how spiritually grounded I was. I always been connected. I didn't realize how grounded I was. So this is why I embraced it. It was not like, oh my God, it was such a bad moment in my life. No, it was one of the best moments because I grew at that moment. So I am very spiritually grounded. I am a person who is of service. And going back to the connection with your purpose, I am a social worker by profession. I'm coaching, I mentor, philanthropy, all that falls within the same line of just being of service to others. So through my speaking, I always say my paycheck is impacting one person. If I actually have an impact in one person today, I got paid. Because that is my greatest purpose in this life. My greatest purpose is to have an impact on people, specifically women and young women, so that they could own their voices, stand in their truth, and show up for themselves authentically. So if I'm able to impact one person, I got paid.
That's so good.
And that's really me fully walking and standing in my purpose and in my truth, because it is bigger than me. So what I'm doing right now, me showing up with you today, I'm experiencing God moving through me as I'm speaking to you. Because I do believe that it is powerful if we're able to get that level of connection with self, because you realize then you're fully connected with God, because God is leading me every step in the way.
Amen.
Through my work.
Wow. Wow. I want to say something to that, and I don't even know what time it is, you guys. But I want to say something to that, Rachelle, only because so let me ask you this. So say for instance, you're not feeling the impact is your paycheck. Does that mean that somewhere in your inner self, you still haven't established who you are? So say, for instance, you've done all these things or you've impacted one person or several people, and you still walk away empty. Would you say that that's because people really are not really lining in alignment with who they really are?
I believe that if I have not had a positive impact in someone's life, that means that I have not fully applied the gifts that I was given. So I was not fully, showing up at that time.
Hold on, I want to make sure you understand me. Hold on one second. I just want to make sure you understand me. So say, for instance, you impacted my life and you see me flourishing, you see me changing, growing, but you're still walking away, not feeling like you've been impactful in terms of that's your paycheck, like to see Neesha's purpose served. It's still, you still walk away feeling empty. What is that?
Well, then if for anyone who would, for me, more than likely I would not walk away like that, because I would feel fulfilled, because seeing you flourish, brings me joy. So that's really what so I would always feel that I am working within that. But a person who has done, I guess, a work where they felt they didn't have the impact they needed, then one has to go back and figure out what does the impact look like to you. For me, impact looks like, what the impact looks out to me is the fulfillment of seeing joy coming through you based on what you have chosen to do, and you have reached the goals, and I see the shift in your process, how you're showing up, how you're speaking, all these elements. That's for me, okay, something is happening or has happened. It brings me joy. Seeing that Neesha is showing up doing her live, and it's like this other level of glow that comes through, boom. That's my impact. But that's mine, because that's what I am aligned with. And we all have what we're aligned with. So therefore, if one feels that they're coming on, is still not feeling that the impact is what they were, they're not connected with the impact they're seeing. So therefore, they need to take another, go back on the drawing board and seeing, okay, if this didn't happen, then maybe that's not what it's all about. Let's dig deeper.
That's
Let's
good.
dig deeper. Let's really find out now, what does it really look like to you?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
important to identify, because when it shows up, then
Yeah.
you know.
And this is why every coach needs a coach and every counselor needs a counselor. This is exactly the reason, you guys. I'm like a little cup being filled up over here, you guys, and I'm sure you guys too are too. We're here, Neesha's Network, with Rachelle, Sylvain, the master igniter, the igniter coach. I love that she ignites things. It's proven today. If you're watching today, it's proven. And please share, you guys. Don't hold on to yourself. But what's more important is how we get in touch with her to be able to participate in some of the activities that she has. So tell us what you have, Rachelle, right now that will help us out. What services?
Actually, I have a couple of things. The first thing I have is a book it's called My Energy. It's
Okay.
on Amazon, and it's where I introduce a 7-step process to connecting with who you truly are from within. And it has a couple of exercises attached to it. And also offers a 4 stages to shifting energy. How do you identify the energy you carry? How do you release it? How do you refine it? And how do you readjust to it? So that's really one of the things. Quick. I also have if anybody follows me on Instagram, on my bio, you get a link and you get a free download to like the couple that takes you it's a bundle where you get the first your self-discovery kit, right? To really start planning how do you want to see those changes that you're seeking in your life. And the third piece is that I have a 12-week program that I'm launching on September 22nd. So it is open. If anyone is interested, please send me an email. If you're Instagram, DM me, hashtag fall into you. That will be the name of the program. It's for the fall. So you're going to fall into you.
All into me.
And it's really the self-discovery. We're going to go through a 12-week of self-discovery process. So you can really get to know who you are from the core. That's really, yes. And I also have a motivational boost that I offer for anyone who feels that they're in the space, if they're at work or they engage in whatever projects, or even in their lives where like at that moment you wake up, you realize, oh my God, I'm lacking energy, I'm lacking motivation. I just can't, I'm not creative. I can't finish my project. I can't finish my assignment. I just need that power 1.5-hour session with someone. I have that available at any given time. You tap into that, you sign up, and then you register, and then I'm yours. So I also have that available. And I speak. Anyone has a desire to have a speaker to speak on anything that has to do with motivation. And one of my key talks is about the power to keep going. And it really encourages you to go through what needs to be, you need to go through to overcome what you need to overcome, no matter what's being thrown at you, to remind you that you have what it takes to keep pushing forward. So
that's so good. That's so many rich things, you guys. So please go to www.rachellesylvain.com and you can look at her amazing website and find out everything you need to know to sign up for these programs. I know I'm definitely going to invest in myself in the fall. That sounds really, really rich and it's really good. So, Rachelle, we have come to the end, and I know none of the questions I sent you I've asked because I was thirsty for this today. So what I do want to ask you is, out of all the things you've accomplished, what are you most proud of?
I have to say, what I'm most proud of today is seeing my daughters. I'm a mother of 2 girls, 2 teenagers right now. One of them just entering the senior year, and to see who they're blossoming to be and how aligned they are with the values that they have and having their own voice. So everything that I speak of, that I believe my greatest purpose is globally, I see it through them. It's realized. So that's really, that's my biggest accomplishments thus far. Everything else doesn't matter as seeing your loved one, blossoming to who they're destined to blossom and be that support system. And I have an amazing relationship, thank God, with my daughters. And so that's really my biggest accomplishments thus far.
That's really great. Well, it has been such a joy to sit here with this 30 minutes plus with you. And I'm looking forward to more connections. If you guys are on Clubhouse, you can connect with us on Fridays with Dream Fire Igniters, because she is the master igniter. And every now and then she'll host the topic, which is cool. So we're being asked, do you do this for teenagers as well?
Yes, I have done that for teenagers, and have done workshops for teenagers as well. And I'm at the point where I will certainly create it based on need, but I have done that. I do a lot of mentoring locally, but I do this on a voluntary basis. I again, I'm a person of service, so I volunteer a lot, and so I am a mentor with this particular organization where I go to high school and I do a lot of mentoring throughout the school year. But within my business, I have done it when I've done one-on-one with teenagers, and I have done workshops for teenagers as well.
That's
Because
awesome.
I believe you need to start young. I think that the earlier you start,
Yeah.
more, you're more likely to go, I believe that you're more likely to have a different person showing up for themselves as they get older. So I really think you need to tap into the younger mind at an early age. And my non-for-profit also is I service young kids as well for that same purpose as well.
What's the name of the nonprofit?
My non-for-profit it's Haitian Creole. It's called Timun Nakai, which means Kids Back Home. So I support the grassroots organizations in Haiti that has a mission. Child welfare has a mission. So we provide food as a food program, a leadership program, a tuition assistance program, and so that's what we do. So far we've been feeding. We have a particular group that 500 students, one meal a day that we've
Wow.
been feeding. And that's a food program. We've been doing tuition assistance for about 19 students, and we've also supported organizations that have leadership a program for young girls as well. So
Wow.
just providing them with the resources to do what they need to do. And I go in to evaluate to make sure things are done the way they're supposed to be done, and so on and so forth. That's been there for 12 years.
Wow. You do wear many hats. So you do understand about the alignment and how important it is. Thank you so much for today. I'm super excited. Please follow Rachelle Sylvain on Instagram, Facebook. Are you on Facebook as well?
I'm on Facebook as well. I have the Rachelle Sylvain Spence on Facebook, and also the business page, which is Our Motivation. That's the
Our
Facebook, and then
motivation.
on it, yeah,
Well,
that's the Facebook page.
Okay, our motivation has been motivated today, you guys, through our motivation. So let's get it going. Super excited. It's been so nice. Is there any last words you want to say to people before we leave?
I just want to encourage everybody to take the time to give themselves grace and really take the time to acquaint themselves with themselves. This is where the power lies. And once you trust that, so much more greatness comes through, from it. So that's really what I would like to tell everyone.
Thank you so much for today.
Thank you. Thank you.
To you soon. Hold on, Rachelle. Everybody, see you next Wednesday for We Work Wednesday, and have an amazing week.
Yeah. Oh, we